Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 5 of Ram with Yam. You know, this series that every Monday I put up where I answer the questions you put up in the previous video. And the most asked question, without a doubt, and not in the comment section of that video, but during this week has been, where the hell have I been and why haven't I put any videos up? Well, for those of you with a memory, and for those of you who were around back then, a couple of months ago, when 1.31 was released, I released a video with very strong criticism about what had been that patch and what had brought into the game. The answer from the community was something that took me totally by surprise. Let's face it, I'm a very small YouTuber. I only have 6,500 subscribers, more or less. I'm not even the biggest and dedicated War Thunder producer in YouTube. Entax got more subscribers than me. I'm not the biggest YouTuber putting up War Thunder videos. Kingos is massive and is much bigger than me. Same with Krebs. So let's face it, I'm a small YouTuber. I'm a third-rate YouTuber at best. So what that video caught me totally by surprise, and I understood that suddenly my opinions couldn't be vented with such, let's say it, such a happy and rushed style. So, well, 1 week ago, well, 6 days ago, 1.33 was released. And of course, the first thing you want to do as a YouTuber is to put up a review on the new patch and your thoughts and all the stuff. The thing is that doing a video putting up what was new in the new patch was a little bit redundant. I mean, just 4 days before I had put a preview on the dev server, and I also had included another video with the pre-release patch notes, which in the end were the actual patch notes. There were no difference. So to put up a video to just summarize what was new was redundant because I had already done so. And instead, what I wanted to do was to put up a video with my opinions on the patch. And the thing is that I didn't want to rush that opinion. And so I left a little cushion of 1 week since the patch release until I put up my opinions on it. So expect it for tomorrow. Expect it for tomorrow. Full video of my thoughts on the new patch, on what's new and what's brought into the game. A little preview on that. Lights and shadows. There are things that I like a lot. There are things that I totally dislike. I'm not going to say anything more than that until tomorrow, of course. The thing is that I didn't want to put anything else in the meantime. Why? Because if I put anything related to War Thunder, it wasn't going to be in 1.33 during this last week. And like it or not, whether you want it or not, some opinions are going to slip by, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to give any opinion on these patch until sometimes had passed by, and I personally and the community as a whole had grown used to the new things in the new patch. So say that's why I haven't put a video during this week. Most of you guys have seen me online. Most of you guys have seen me around flying, and I have been active in Facebook as well. I have been posting things now and then. I mean, I haven't disappeared from the radar like the last time. It was simply that I was taking some time to make my mind and to see if what I thought initially about the patch was what I was going to put 1 week later. And that's what's going to happen tomorrow. I will put up all my opinions on the new patch. So, well, say that, let's go on and move on to the proper questions of Young with Ram. The questions that you posted last week and those, well, that I feel like answering. So, let's go on. And let's start with Madman3470. Are you excited about World of Warships and the ships in War Thunder? About the ships in War Thunder? Yes. Totally, absolutely, and utterly excited. I can't wait for that to happen. But we still are waiting for ground vehicles, so I'm not holding my breath. About World of Warships, no. Honestly, no. Again, it's the same as with airplanes. Game mode, game doctrine, game decision, and design decision that works well with tanks doesn't mean that it's going to work with warships. Still, I think that World of Warships might be a lot better than World of Warplanes will ever be, at least for me. I have already stated my opinion on World of Warplanes, and I simply say that hit points don't work in airplanes. And to a point, I don't think they work for warships either. I mean, I don't know if you guys know a game called Navy Field. I played that a long time ago, and was pretty much the same with hit points and armor, and didn't really work. I mean, not something of my taste. I know, of course, World of Warships is going to be totally different from Navy Field. It's a very different concept, but still, the concept of warships with hit points is something that I don't like. Still, that's one I'm going to try. World of Warplanes is something I did try back in Alpha, and I'm not going to again. But I do think that Warzone is going to be much better in warships. Anyway, next question. If you have a chance to fly any aircraft within the rules for the Rhino Air races, what would it be and why? Oh, rare beer. Oh, F8F beer cat. And that the modified one, of course, that one has a different engine from the production model. I mean, that plane is simply a legend in Renault, and of course in aeronautics in general. I mean, that had the record for piston engine driven aircraft top speed for what? 35 years, something like that. I don't know. That's a legend. And also the F8F is a plane I kinda like, for many reasons. But yeah, rare beer, without a doubt. Next question. There was a little debate in the last round with Yam comment section about dives, zooms, which planes are better at what. I didn't chime in. Simply said because it's something that requires quite a lengthy explanation, and it's something I already visited in my first video of the Fighter Combat School. But I'm going to do another Fighter Combat School explicitly about heavy planes, lighter planes, and dive and zoom mechanics, so you guys can understand it perfectly. Also, it's going to come with mathematics and physical equations. So if you want to know why heavy airplanes dive and zoom better, you are going to see why with mathematics behind. It's not complicated. It's very simple. So don't worry when it happens. It's going to be painless, and I'll make it easy for you to understand. So yeah, that's the thing about the heavy light planes. I didn't chime in because I mean 500 characters for YouTube is simply not enough. It's simply not enough to cover all the extremes. So next question. Have you ever been to Germany? No, I haven't, and I want to. It's a country I kind of like in the way. I mean, I like and wouldn't like to live there at the same time. Let me explain myself. I'm Spanish. If you know the Mediterranean culture and the Spanish culture, we are very laid back, very very laid back. We live our lives to have fun. I mean, we don't live to work. Most of us, uh, we work to live, which is a different thing. I think we are not serious. We take life with a lot of humor, and yeah, it's our way of being. Doesn't mean that I don't admire the German ability to work as people and as a country. I mean, the German miracle, the way they recover from World War II, is something I simply can't stop admiring, and that's down to something, and it's heavy work and heavy and hard work ethics, which are kind of lacking here in Spain. And that's something I admire from the Germans, but it comes at a cost. German people usually aren't funny. Usually, there are very fun German people. One of them is a YouTuber producer, Bismarck, which is a very very funny guy. But as people, I mean, as a country, it's a country I like from the history it has. I'm talking long history here, from the old medieval times up to today. Um, and well, it's and I mean, it's the German people is people I admire because they have something Spanish people don't. But at the same time, I don't want us to have that kind of, because it's totally incompatible. I don't think that as a people can be laid back and be hardworking. It's incompatible. It's a basic essence that is incompatible to each other. But I would like to go to Germany, yeah, and it's a country I'd like to visit. So, well, next question. If you were to move planes up and down ranks of any nation for balancing, what planes would it be? Oh, a lot of them. Poof. Oh, there are so many wrongly tiered planes in this game. Um, I will rank planes by year of introductions. That means the Kia A61s are totally misplaced, the P40 is totally misplaced, the F4Us are totally misplaced, the Spitfire 1 is totally misplaced, the Bullfighters are absolutely and totally misplaced. Um, there are a lot of, I mean, a lot of tearing problems right now in the game. So to cover that, I would have to spend maybe 20 minutes of explanations. Um, as for some insight on that, you'll see it tomorrow in my thoughts about 1.03. That's all I'm going to say. In the meantime, well, there are a lot of wrongly tiered planes, and I would place it year by year. Starting from level 0 at 9036 or before, and moving on from the levels in a compatible way with history to bring historical matchups as the levels go up. So, next question. There's a question that I don't know if it's really for Jan with RAM, but I'm going to answer it anyway. The DB603 engine was used in the TA152, right? Yes and no. And the TI-152 that we currently have in the game is the 1528, and that one has a UMO 213A. Sorry. Yeah, it's an E. The TA-152C, which was a totally different version, had a Daimler-Benz 603 engine. So, simply wanted to answer that one. Next question. This is one I like. Ron, will you ever attend things like airshows or museums the way that Jingles does? If so, would you record yourself at these places? I want to see your pretty Spanish face, Ram. I want it. Pretty Spanish face, yeah, whatever. Actually, yes, I'm thinking about that. There's the Spanish Air Museum at Cuatro Vientos. It's the Air Force Museum. It's very close to where I live, maybe 80 kilometers. It's a drive-by of maybe 1 hour from where I live, and I'm actually looking forward going there. The only problem, well, let's say that I'm a strange guy in what regards to that kind of stuff. Honestly, I don't know anyone who likes planes the same way I do. At least not enough to do a trip to Madrid to visit that museum. So I don't have anyone to go with. And I'm not going to go with no one because I like to be with people. I'm not going to go to a museum by myself. So, well, yeah, I guess that will happen when I find someone to go with, because I have asked several of my friends and they all say, "Are you nuts?" Yeah, let's say that all my friends, none of them like planes, and none of them is interested in going to um, that museum, which is pretty sad, if I have to say so. As for airshows, sadly, in Spain there's a very, very, very lacking culture in what regards to airshows. There are some, but they are not exactly the same as what you can find at DAX 4, for instance. The closest thing I can think of is the well, in Barcelona in September there usually is an airshow, and I actually attended it once, and it was pretty cool with a lot of different planes and helicopters, separately fighters. I got to be close to an F4U, close to a Spitfire, close to a Mustang, because I actually got a press pass to the a private run they were doing. So I had pictures of myself just standing besides a Corsair, a Mustang, a Spitfire, etc. And the next day there was an show in Barcelona, and I went to that show, and it was really cool to see the Breitling fighters. But that's maybe once a year, and let's face it, currently I don't have the money to go to Barcelona and stay there for maybe several days. Well, I do have the money, but I can't spend it. I'm saving. And other than that, that's the Fiestas de la Merced in Barcelona, and that's a party. So well, whatever. In Barcelona is a special event that's run every year. Other than that, there are very few airshows in Spain. But about the museum, well, I see if I can find someone to go with, because I tell you, really, no one wants to go. And I have a lot of friends. I have asked a lot of them. I have asked all of them, and they all were like, "You're nuts, man. So what? Are we going there to spend 3 hours looking planes? So what?" Yeah, well, that's the kind of stuff I having to deal with. So okay, yeah, I'm planning to do so, but I don't know when it happens. So yeah, that's it. Next question: what countries have you visited? Any tips on moving abroad, or any tips on moving in Spain if someone was in Spain? What places should you visit and go see? Well, countries I have visited, I have been to Puerto Rico, I have been to the United States, I have been to the United Kingdom, I have been to Portugal. I have been in France, but no, I haven't. I mean, I have been on the other side of the frontier for 2 hours. That's not really been in France. It's been there, but not really. And that's it. I haven't traveled that lot, and I wish I have traveled more. And if I ever have the chance, I will do so, and I will travel a lot more, because there are a lot of places I want to go to. I want to go to France, to Normandy at least. I want to go to Germany. I want to go again to the United Kingdom. I want to go again to the United States, because when I was there, I was simply a kid. I want to go to Egypt when things settle down, because right now the thing is a mess. But I love history. I love history as a whole. So places like Italy, Egypt, maybe Israel are must go places for me. And also I have dates to go to Japan if I ever got the chance. But that's very expensive from Spain, of course, and that's going to have to wait. But yeah, I really want to travel more. As for places have been there, well, those are the places. As for places to go if you are visiting Spain, well, that depends a lot. That depends a lot. If you're just here for the fun and beaches and sun and party and fun times, go to the east. The all the Mediterranean coast in summer is endless party, and I can tell you that. I mean, party in all the sense you can, whatever you want to find in party, you're going to find it there. You simply want to go around being a fun guy and going to karaoke's, you can do it there. If you want to get totally wasted, you can go there. If you want to do drugs, which I don't, and I don't suggest you doing, but yeah, go there. If you want to have wild sex, go there, because of course that doesn't mean you are going to have wild sex with Spanish girls, because what happens is that all the girls from abroad that come here have sex in Spain. I don't ask me why. But yeah, it's wild wild time. It's wild time. If you are looking for hard parties like discos and all that stuff, Ibiza, of course. I mean, that's a no-brainer. If you are looking for something more cultural, well, it depends a lot of what kind of cultural visit you want to pay. If you want to do museums, go to Madrid, El Prado, or Reina Sofia. There are a lot of museums in Madrid. If you are into more historical places, the place I live in, Toledo, is amazing. It's wow. It's I swear to God, this city is magic. Has magic to it. Um, Also Sevilla, Córdoba, Granada, um, the southern part of Spain, the old Andalus is very interesting. Avila, Avila has, I think, is the largest still standing walls, medieval walls in any city in the world right now. There are a lot of amazing places. If you are into just beautiful places, nothing else than beautiful places to visit and nothing cultural, nothing historical, Asturias, Cantabria, Basque Country, the place I was born in. The north of Spain is beautiful, and there's a very hidden place that little people know about that, and that's Cáceres. Cáceres is in western Spain, very near Portugal, and it's in Extremadura. Extremadura is a Spanish region that has um, let's call it a fame for being very dry and very, I mean, yeah, very dry. But there's a little place around Cáceres that has a mini climate, and it's actually very green, and it's beautiful. I was there and I was totally stunned because it looked like the north of Spain, and it was just in a place that you would never expect it to be. So yeah, then go there as well. There's a lot of places in Spain which are amazing to go to. I mean, the biggest industry in Spain is tourism. So that's a reason for that. There's history, there are beautiful places to visit, and if you simply want to go to the beach, you can do so. And if you want to go partying, you can do so. So yeah, that's what I tell you. I mean, I could go for miles. I could go for hours listing places that would be interesting to go in Spain. But as a summing up, that would be it. So yeah, next question. Your English is actually quite good. How did you learn English? Oh, good one. This is actually something no one has ever asked me in YouTube. Until now, of course. I do think that my English is very good. I mean, written English and read English. I read in English more than I read in Spanish, to be honest. And I write in English more than I write in Spanish. And of course, that doesn't go unnoticed. The problem is that I speak very little. How did I learn English? Well, it just happened that back when I was a kid, maybe I was 5 years old or something like that. My sisters, I have two older sisters than me, 6 and 7 years older than me. They were taking private lessons of Euskera, which is the base country language, and English. So my parents, well, thought that if they had a girl who was coming a couple of times a week, maybe 1 hour each time to teach my sisters, she could stay for maybe half a week, half an hour after that, and start teaching me the basics of English. Of course, the thing here is that she wasn't a native, and I guess that a native would have been better because mostly because of the pronunciation. My problem is the accent. The problem is that I don't speak a lot. But anyway, that got me started very soon, and that was reinforced very soon afterwards because when I was 8 or 9 years old, there's this place near Bilbao, in a place called Barango. It's called the American School. It's not an actual school. It's a place where you do extra scholar activities, but you do all of them in English with native teachers. The rule there is that you don't speak Spanish. You only speak English. Of course, that's a rule. that everyone breaks, even the teachers, because of course not everyone that goes there has enough level of English to speak in English. I didn't at first, of course, but after a while you get used to that. And I went there for 7 consecutive summers and 1 winter. During the winter was the Saturday mornings, and during the summers it was during July all the mornings from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And it was well, we have of course English classes which were boring, but we also had very cool stuff. We had sports, so we could play baseball, basket. We also played football, but that was less. I mean, most of the teachers there were actually American, so most of the games we played were also American, baseball mostly. We have computers. Back in the day, of course, it was 8-bit computers. It was an Apple, and we we were also learning some Logo, which was a computer programming thing back then, but all in English, of course. We have art, plastics, so we could paint things, etc. All that kind of stuff, which was very, very entertaining, had nothing to do with the actual school, and all in English. And that got me really started. Um, After a while, when I was, and this is going to be fun because I'm such a freak, and I was such a freak since I was very, very, very young. I was just a kid. I was 10 years old, and I had seen this war game, this board game. This one of, I mean, these board games with counters and a lot of very complicated rules that only people play with other freaks like them. I saw one of them, and I wanted it. It was called Third Rate from Avalon Hill Games. I simply saw that box and I fell in love. The only thing is that it was imported and it was freaking expensive. And I was only 11 years old. I couldn't afford it anywhere close. I mean, that thing back then was 10,000 pesetas, which right now would be 60 euros, which doesn't seem a lot right now, but back then it was a lot. I mean, my parents gave me 100 pesetas each Sunday, and I would live all the week with that. So yeah, I couldn't afford that. No way in hell I could save for that. So I made a deal with my dad. If I got good enough qualifications in the school, he would buy that game for me. He had not a clue. He thought it was a computer game. So I actually got very good qualifications in the school, and of course he fulfilled his part of the deal. So we went to the place where that box was, and he purchased it for me. And of course he was looking at it like, what the hell are I buying for this kid? I mean, this is nuts. So well, I went back home, I opened the box, I took out the instructions, and of course they were all in English. And well, it's a case of swim or sink, swim or die. I could either ditch the game I had wanted for months, and my dad had paid with very hard cash, or I could grit my teeth and try to learn to play that game on my own by reading those pages and that rulebook. And I actually did so. And by the end of the summer, I was actually playing against myself because no one else would play that monster of a game with me. And my mom was all the time like, clean that stuff, because it was a huge board, maybe 2 meters by 1 meter. It took all the floor of my room, and all the counters, there were hundreds of counters. Just to deploy the counters to start the game, you could take easily 2 hours. And of course, each time my mom walked into the room, she was like, I'm going to ditch that fucking thing. Well, not with those words because I was a kid, of course. But, well, let's say that the game was a little bit hated. But yeah, that's what got me started into reading English. Also, most of the things I wanted were World War II related, and here in Spain back then there were no Spanish publications, so most of them were imported, and most of them were deals with my dad. If you get good qualifications, you'll get that book. That book could be a naval history of World War II with illustrations on all in English. So yeah, that's how I got started. I never got stopped since then. So yeah, that's how I learned English. So next question: if you could buy a real fighter for World War II, what would you buy? Still flying, of course. Focus find any. You didn't see that one coming, didn't you? Did you? Well, yeah, Focus 180. And they are flying. I mean, there are replicas built in Germany right now with Russian engines. That's the sad part. They can't use BMW engines because they aren't any longer in production. So, ironically enough, they are building Focus 180s with the LA5 engine, the AS882, which had a very similar power rating to the BMW 801D engine for the A5 series. So I would buy that one. Failing that, I don't know if there's any flying right now, but Hawker C40. Well, actually, the Hawker C Fury, which is called. Yeah, failing the 190, the Sea Fury would be it. But the 190, the first one, of course, and without a doubt. So, next question. What plane is your YouTube picture? Hard to see, but would like to know. Well, it's a Focus 190 A8. Of course. I mean, yeah, that's it. So, next question incoming. When is your birthday? Is the 15th of December. I was a very late comer. My birthday is was 15th of December of 1977. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, well, last question for this week, and we will be done. What was the best weapon for planes in World War II? This is highly subjective, of course, but I do think it was the MU151/20. All things considered, I think it was the best one. First of all, it was rather light for a cannon, for a 20 millimeter cannon. But it was not only that, it was also electrically primed. And that was a huge advantage because it meant that for synchronizing, it was very easily adaptable. If you take the Hispano cannon, for instance, you will see that it shoots a pretty big round at a very low range, at a very high speed. So you are expecting it to hit very hard. But the thing is, the weapon itself weighed a lot. It wasn't really reliable. And on top of that, it was mechanically primed. It was not electrically primed, which meant that it couldn't be synchronized. Well, it could be synchronized, but it would lose around 40-45% of the rate of fire, which is huge. So as a result, all the planes that carried these panels had to take them in the wings. Unless, of course, they put that one in the nose instead, in the engine, which was what the French did, for instance, and what the Americans did with the P-38. They had a centrally mounted 20 millimeter, but in all the rest of cases, they had to be in the wings, which added a lot of problems with convergence, first and foremost, and then the fact that the farther out of the wings that you mount your weapons, the less accurate they are, because the outer wings are less stiff than the inner roots or the fuselages. So the recoil will make the weapons vibrate a little bit, and there was a lot of more dispersion with those weapons than with weapons mounted very close to the fuselage. The German MG151/20 was a marvel. I mean, it couldn't be synchronized very easily, losing less than 10% of their fire rate. So that's why the Germans could mount it in the focal point and in the roots of the plane, and losing almost no accuracy at all, and at a very, very, very small cost in rate of fire. Um, it was pretty light for a 20 mm cannon, and while it didn't shoot around with the same velocity as the Hispano did, it shot meningacious rounds, and those things hurt a lot. And there are official documents of the German Air Ministry of World War II, of course, that say that on average from 4 to 7 hits of a 20 mm gun were enough to bring down a single engine fighter, and from 25 to 30 were enough to kill a B-17. It was a very heavy hitter, and for its weight and its advantages in configuration and placement, I think it was the best weapon of World War II, because you could mount a lot of them, you could mount them wherever you wanted to mount them, and you could synchronize them very, very easily. And yeah, I think they simply were so easily adaptable to any plane, and to the proper positions, that yeah, for me is the best weapon of World War II. Lightweight, multi-role, and yeah, for me is the best all around. Of course, there are heavy hitters. There are 30 mm cannons that were very good and very light, like the MK108. Oh shit, numbers. The Soviet 23 mm gun. The Soviet Beresin B-20 was very lightweight, but had problems with synchronizing as well. But all around, all things considered, muzzle velocity, hitting power, rate of fire, easiness of production, and easiness of mounting on a plane, the MG151 is the best, but without a question. So yeah, that's it for today's Run with Yam episode 5. I hope you had fun, I hope you enjoyed, and remember, post of your questions in the comment section below, and remember to upvote those questions that you want to see answered the most. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys, and see you later.